Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Startup Talks. Today we're roasting 4 fresh funding rounds: Symbiotic Security securing AI-generated code, Mind the Gen Z finance app, PraxisPro training pharma sales teams with AI, and Bolna building voice agents for the Indian market. Let's get into it. First up, Symbiotic Security, an Israeli startup that just raised $10 million in a seed round led by Alvin, a Parisian VC. The core idea: enterprises are shipping AI-generated code at scale, but nobody's properly checking it for security vulnerabilities.
And that's a real problem. Tools like GitHub Copilot or Claude generate code incredibly fast, but they also introduce subtle bugs and exploitable patterns that developers don't always catch before it hits production.
Exactly. Symbiotic's platform scans that AI-generated code, tests it, and here's the differentiator: automatically patches the vulnerabilities, not just flags them. It integrates directly into the DevOps pipeline, so it's part of the workflow, not an afterthought.
That automatic patching is what sets them apart from Snack or checkmarks, which basically just detect and report. Symbiotic is saying, we'll fix it too. Though I'll be honest, my first reaction was skepticism. Won't the big LLMs just absorb this functionality over time?
That was my counterargument in my head too. But here's their actual framing. They're not competing with LLMs. They're running an arms race against hackers. Hackers find new exploits in AI-generated code. Symbiotic's team analyzes those exploits, and they retrain their models to detect and patch them. It's a security R&D loop, not a model quality competition.
So what they're actually selling is the team. The security specialists who watch for new exploits and keep feeding that knowledge back into the models. That's harder to replicate than the model itself.
Right. And the investor signal matters here too. Alvin is a serious European fund. Over 2 billion euros under management. Algolia and Stripe were in their early portfolio. For an Israeli startup with European enterprise ambitions, getting Alvin means network access to buyers, not just cash.
The risks are real though. Automatic code patching can break CI/CD pipelines if not done carefully, and developers tend to push back hard when an AI tool rewrites their code without full transparency.
True, the technical advantage is also temporary by nature. It's a constant reinvestment. But if they've landed paying enterprise customers in fintech and SaaS, the revenue should cover that cycle. I think this is a defensible position if they execute well. Next is Mine, another Israeli startup, this time in personal finance. They raised $14 million in a Series A led by 359 Capital. The product is an AI-powered app that handles budgeting, spending insights, and investment recommendations through a conversational chat interface built specifically for millennials and Gen Z.
Personal finance is such an evergreen category, and yet it's also a graveyard of apps that didn't survive. Mint was the big one in the US, and we have local versions of that across Europe. So the question immediately is, what's actually different here?
Their bet is on conversational UX. Instead of dashboards and spreadsheets, you chat with it. It connects to your bank via open banking APIs, pulls your transaction data, categorizes everything automatically, and then you can just ask it things like, "Where did my money go this week?" or "What can I cut?" No manual entry, which was always the killer for older budgeting apps.
That frictionless connection is the key thing. The old Mint model where you had to log every coffee you bought, nobody actually kept that up. AutoSync plus a chat layer is a real UX upgrade.
The structural problem, though, is the audience. Gen Z has low ARPU, less disposable income, smaller financial portfolios, and real resistance to paid subscriptions. They're used to free apps, so your cost to acquire users will always be fighting against the revenue you can extract from them.
And as they scale into Europe, that CECI problem gets worse. Every country needs regulatory localization, data residency compliance, and then you're competing with local banks that already have relationships with these customers and can just add the same features for free.
My view is the standalone app is not the end game here. The smarter path is to become a financial layer that gets embedded into wherever people manage their lives, the next generation of personal AI assistants. That's when this product becomes infrastructure, and that's probably where the real exit is.
Makes sense. Get acquired before commoditization catches up. At 14 million, they have runway to prove the model, but the unit economics need to hold at scale.
Third one is PraxisPro, an American startup, $6 million seed from AlleyCorp. They build AI coaching tools for pharmaceutical and medical device sales teams, role-play simulations, call analysis, personalized sales scripts, the whole stack for training a medical sales rep.
I'll say upfront, I like this one. The problem is real and deeply unsexy, which is usually a good sign.
Training a pharma sales rep is slow and brutally expensive. We're talking months of onboarding, tens of thousands of dollars per person, and the domain is highly specialized. You need to know compliance rules, medical terminology, how to talk to doctors, what you can and can't say about a drug. Generic tools like Gong just aren't built for that context.
And the founders are ex-medical sales leaders, so they're not guessing at the problem. PraxisPro lets reps practice against configurable AI personas, from friendly buyers to aggressive skeptics. And then the system analyzes real call recordings and builds personalized coaching scripts based on what each rep actually struggles with.
They're claiming a 30% improvement in close rates via AI feedback, and they're already running pilots with top pharma companies. That's the signal you want. The investor, AlleyCorp, is a New York studio that also has a $100 million digital health fund, so they bring pharma network access and operational support.
What I really like is that this is AI being used in a place where the stakes for being wrong are low. It's a training simulation. There's no patient data involved, no liability for clinical outcomes. A basic model is perfectly good enough to simulate a difficult client. So the AI capability race doesn't really affect them.
And corporate clients in pharma sign long-term contracts. That's durable revenue. If they have proven ROI and signed contracts, this is genuinely investable. The main friction is HIPAA compliance and the long procurement cycles that come with selling into enterprise healthcare. But that's a known cost of doing business in this vertical, not a surprise.
The per-user subscription model also makes the economics clean. The more reps the customer has, the more they pay. It scales with the client's headcount, which in pharma is large.
Last one is Bolna, spelled Bolna, an Indian startup that raised $6.3 million seed from General Catalyst. They build a platform for orchestrating AI voice agents, multilingual voice bots, CRM integration, low-latency call handling. Their customers are Indian e-commerce and fintech companies.
India is a genuinely unique market for voice AI. You have hundreds of languages and dialects: Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, Kannada, and dozens more. Plus the very common pattern of mixing languages mid-sentence, what people call Hinglish. Global providers like Blend.ai just weren't built for that.
And it's not just the languages. It's the noisy phone connections, regional accents, the sheer volume of inbound call center traffic. Bolna built their own ASR, automatic speech recognition, system optimized specifically for Indian speech patterns. That's their core technical moat.
For now. That's the issue with voice AI right now. Open source ASR models are improving every few months, and cloud providers are dropping prices. The technical advantage they have today will erode faster than they'd like. The
Totally agree. Which is why the real question is whether they can convert that early technical edge into long-term enterprise contracts and deep CRM integrations before commoditization catches up. The money, $6.3 million, is solid for an Indian seed round, and General Catalyst is a serious investor. But they need to run fast.
There's also an interesting regulatory angle. India has a do not disturb registry, TRAI restrictions on commercial robocalls, and RBI rules on what financial information can be discussed in automated calls. The regulations exist, but enforcement is weak compared to Europe or the US. That's actually an advantage. It creates a fast feedback loop. They can iterate quickly, make mistakes, learn from real calls in ways that a company operating in Germany simply couldn't.
And there's a cultural nuance here that flips Western assumptions on their head. In India, a polished, beautifully designed app is often perceived as a red flag. It looks like a scam. A rough, functional interface from a company that's been around signals trustworthiness. So the bar for UX quality is genuinely different, which changes what good enough looks like for their product.
The path for Bolna is lock in enterprise contracts now, go vertical into specific domains, medical, legal, financial services, build datasets that nobody else has, and stop relying on their own ASR being the differentiator. If they do that, there's a real business. If they stay at the infrastructure layer, they'll get squeezed from above and below.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of Startup Talks.